Wow, are we live?
Yeah, we're live.
Okay.
I'm not.
All right. Since this is my first time properly being in a short story, do we? How do we start these? Just so I can.
The way we start
do them
these is,
correctly.
hey everyone, hey guys, welcome to another iteration of DBA Downtimes, a spin-off or offshoot of our weekly tabletop RPG running the anime campaign Epithet System known as Destruction Bench Agreement. Basically, it's our way of, DBA in as it is in universe is shown as like a little TV show thing, and it's a combination of role play and combat. It's a TTRPG. We have data bounties, which is our challenge battle mode, which is focused primarily on the combat. Maybe there's a little RP. But downtimes are basically the full RP equivalent, where, primarily focused on RP. And in universe, it's not being shown to the entire world TV-wise. So it's basically a way to have, things that are important happen that wouldn't be happening on screen, or just have some time to interact with characters. It's whatever we're feeling. It's RP time. And today we have another short story, which is basically a more of a cutscene-y kind of specific thing than just characters exist in a place and interact. This is more of a closer to like an important story-esque interaction. Speaking of, we have the person that is primarily in charge here. We have Ballast.
Hello. Just following the most recent episode, Graves came into, at least for the moment, ownership of a very special sword, and we're gonna be resolving some things about that today.
And then we have the person playing Graves. We got Kakapo.
Hello, I'm Kakapo. I decided to take a legendary blade and I'm being punished for my hubris, so let's see how that goes.
Yeah, exactly. There we go. We got we got that. That's everyone that's part of this. It's a relatively small scale one, but it's because it's a thing that's between just a few people, but it's important. So, if you're new around here, you're enjoying yourself, you want to know when, where, how, why, you can catch more of the stuff we're doing on this Twitch channel, including the stuff that leads to the context behind these downtimes, you should join our funky Discord. Yo, fine dining! Cool. And with that, I will close my mouth hole and let the people that are actually participating take part in what they're doing.
All right. With that in mind, it is 2 days after the events of the previous session. Graves, you have this sword of which you have managed to get a hold of, but you've been a bit busy, and to test it, you wanted to make sure you had enough time to just set aside some time to do it, as well as having proper circumstances just in case anything would go awry. So you are here alone in this place so that you may test it. Well, what would you like to do?
Well, first, I need...
Yeah. I will again just vaguely describe the way that the sword looks, at least on while sheathed. The sheath itself, as I mentioned before, it has a varying dark and lighter red scheme that, because of the alternation and how it is swirled together, looks like it is just a pool of blood coalesced into this shape of a sheath. And other than that, at least, it seems just like any other sword that one might find of a katana variety. Alright.
Yeah. And just to note, the first thing that Graves did when he went home on the day of the cornfield mission was to go back and just rewatch the episode, because DBA's omnipotent cameras catch a lot more than the average,
of course,
than the human eye does. So we saw that. And he knows it's only a matter of time before he actually has to face the final dragon or whatever crony he flings his way. So he's just going to see what this blade actually does before then.
Okay. Is there any specific precautions you would take when preparing for this, or just generally in this scenario as is currently, just to confirm?
Just to not that I'll send you this one thing. Maybe I'd rather have it like not on stream, but like
Uh-huh. Just have to make sure of exactly what's going on. Oh, I mean, yeah, of course.
But like, usually, I mean, he's a soldier. He's used to having to defend himself at night, so like, nothing that he wouldn't have on a normal day.
Yeah.
Per se.
Yeah.
Okay. And plus, for particular reasons, he's not too scared of the upcoming thing. But for now, he just wants to see what this blade is about.
All right.
And
so I assume you would unsheath it in that case, correct?
Correct. Yes, Graves would unsheath the blade.
So
just take a good look at it.
So yeah, no. As you unsheath it, in the time before when it was unsheathed, around all of the other members of that party, it didn't seem to be all that special, other than the fact that, oh yeah, no, it just seems like a very sharp katana. But here in this moment, whenever ownership for this moment at least has very properly transferred over to you, as you unsheath the blade for the first time, you get filled with an overwhelming intensity from someone that is not yourself. Inside your head, you hear over and over an intense desire, urge, nay, necessity. Kill! Kill! Come on, spill some blood already! It seems to be a sword with some sort of incredibly violent spirit inside of it that requires bloodshed.
I see. It's one of these things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Give me a will save.
Now, it's nothing on his sheet, so you can reject this as will, but Graves is a soldier, as always.
Oh yeah, no, I know that
you
you have an incredible resolve. It's not going to be a difficult one, but just a general one. Yeah. All right, yeah, no. You hear the voice enter your mind, and you just consider it for a moment. But no, you won't go on a blood rampage. No, you're much more refined than that. You've been taught how to use such methods. It's not something to be done on a whim, per se.
Exactly. I've never heard of a blade with like this, although first time for anything, I guess. Now, this is all going on in his mind. He's not saying this out loud per se, but now from what I know about blades like these, if you're untrained, the recoil damage will be immense. So I'm just going to take it easy for now. He's just going to give this rock like a hearty tap just to see if any effect comes out of it.
All right, give me a roll.
Okay.
Okay. So as you touch the edge of this blade to this stone, this inorganic material, as you've already rejected its innate call for bloodlust, you didn't put a lot of force into that, so you weren't expecting a lot of backlash. But it seems that the blade does not want to cut something that isn't a person. No, that's not what this blade is for, you see. Which arm are you primarily? Which handed side is Graves? Or if he's using his primary hand, at least in this, I should say.
I guess statistically he's using his right.
Alright. In that case, on your upper forearm for your right arm, just a line from your wrist to the elbow, just immediately drawn, starts bleeding. I'm gonna say you're gonna take 9 damage.
Okay.
Kill! 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 It continues to drone on, although you continue to ignore it, of course.
Alright. This thing desires for blood. None of these will do. Seems I had the complete wrong idea.
A scratch
So how about
is
something-
left inside of the rock, of course, but
He'll inspect it. He'll inspect it to see if there's any special properties.
it doesn't seem to be any special properties, except for the fact that, like, you weren't trying all that hard with it. However, the cut is ridiculously straight. Not a single deviation from the direction that you went down in.
That's interesting. Very least. Well, hey, little guy, let's see if you like the lifeblood of, something else. I know you figure you prefer people, but let's compromise. I want to see what you can do. Alright? And then and then, a little bit harder, but, like, still kind of just, like, I don't want to burst my arm. I'm going to, like, he just taps this tree to see what it happens.
Alright, give me another roll.
Okay.
Alright.
Oh, man.
So, as you attempt to cut into a tree, again ignoring its call for blood, it seems to get a bit angrier that you have ignored its demonstration. 12 damage this time, as it continues from your elbow all the way up to your shoulder.
So, Graves is just like, you know what? I could do the you know what? I could do the rule of 3. I could probably do that.
It seems this time as well, there is actually no indent on the tree at all.
Oh, okay. And then he's just going to sheath the blade at this point.
Alright.
A good
Yeah, as soon as you sheath it, the incessant call for bloodshed stops, except for, as you're sheathing it, you seem to lose your grip just a bit, and it cuts right into your thumb. You're probably gonna need to bandage that up really bad. It's bleeding a lot. With how your epithet works, you're not going to have to worry about it being lost, but it seemed like the blade wanted to get at least some proper bloodshed before it got sheathed.
Got it. So he's going to, just sort of, like, yeah, he sheathes it, just like, a good soldier needs to know restraint. Otherwise, they're just some mad killing machine. And I think at that point, I think he tried to use some level of epithet because, well, how deep is the cut on his arm?
The first one was just about skin deep. The second one is like a half a centimeter deep. It's like it's pretty bad comparatively.
Yeah. Grace is not the one that reacts to pain like a normal person would, but he definitely feels it and is just like, alright, I gotta get this bandaged up. And then he just go home from there. He knows what his next course of action is to do.
Alright.
But yeah, so take me to the other map.
Yep.
Because
so,
he would.
As you make your way home, you just simply adjust the flesh on your arm to at least keep it covered enough. That way you don't ruin your uniform on the way back. And you get to your apartment, you unlock it. It doesn't seem like anything has happened yet, at least from what you can tell, at least upon first entering the room. Except for, as you will obviously note, someone has seemingly prepared 2 cups of tea.
Alright then. Well, first he'd go for like the gauze that he has and just wrap that shit around his thumb, around his arm.
Would you say that there's so because I can see it on the GM layer. Would you say that there's only the gauze there, or is one of the other things also there?
Oh no, yeah. Anywhere where the stuff is noted, that's where a thing is.
You only see gauze. Only gauze.
Well, there's also just food stuff in there.
Oh yeah, no. There's gauze, food stuff. It's all of the normal quote unquote things are there.
All of the normal stuff, but
yeah.
He's just gonna he looks under the counter. I assume it's not there either.
Call him. You check under the counter. You check the fridge. You check pantry. You check underneath the tea kettle just to make sure. Nothing. Nowhere.
Well, seems I won't be able to do my thing, I guess. And he just takes the tea and just takes a sip.
Yeah, as you take a sip, a man steps out of your room, double-checking a rather expensive-looking watch in a rather well-put-together suit. Yes. I thought you would just be about that long. Good to see that I was correct in my assumptions. Hello, Mr. Graves. You obviously know who I am. I know that you watch DBA. You know why I am here. I assume that this tea is to your liking, correct? He says, picking up his cup and taking a sip.
Yes. I do appreciate the gesture. And he kind of just like has the blade, kind of like just sort of like picks it up, saying like, "You want this back, right?"
Yes, and as he looks you up and down, obviously you don't actually look wounded, but you're breathing just a little harder than you do normally because, you've been exhausted. And as you can tell, you're currently nowhere near capable of using that properly, so it would just be easier for the both of us if you just handed it over.
Honestly, I will, but I do want to ask, are you willing to hand over any information about this thing whatsoever?
The man just kind of loosens his tie a bit, takes another sip of his tea, puts it down. I prefer coffee. But, as Sun Tzu says, if you know the enemy and know yourself, you need not to fear the result of 100 battles. And with my epithet, if I know who my enemy is, I can know who they are very, very well. And so I've made this small comfort for you. So, I could, potentially, answer a question or two depending. Unlike a few of my other colleagues, I'm not particularly combat-oriented. I like to keep things simple, if I can. But that's not to say, as he looks you over, just because he said that he's not oriented to combat, and you are a soldier yourself. That's not to say, though, at least in the scenario you find yourself, Mr. Graves, that you would be able to outmaneuver me. You've already no doubt noticed that, well, you can't have any of your weapons cache right now.
Unfortunate, yes. It is a shame. I don't wish to fight you at all, but
Please.
If I am to hand this thing,
Call me Tact. That is my name.
A pleasure to meet you, Tact. Genuinely, I do not want this to result in a combat whatsoever. However, I do, if I can, ever since I saw the fact that it was the final dragon who owned this blade, I at least wanted to know what this thing was. I wanted to know what it's capable of. If you're able to answer that, I see no further issues.
I don't know about all of the swords of the set. However, most of them I do, yes. There's one or two of which I've not met their user, so I wouldn't really have been able to get a handle for what they or their blade can do, but I've known a handful of the users of that one. I don't feel currently comfortable in telling you its name. That's a bit outside of my pay grade. However, I'm telling you what it is. That is simple enough. It is an eidolon, which contains the spirit of a samurai who, in the tradition of old, he turns around and just kind of takes a step and thought, an old tradition of some samurai, a bit rogue as though it might have been, were to, when obtaining a new sword, go out and kill a random civilian to test its sharpness. The spirit within that sword is very fond of that particular style of combat, he says, turning back around and just kind of swiveling. And so it's just pretty merrily, at least, just capable of rather bloody techniques in regards to cutting a person to death. And it is also favored to be in fights just between two individuals as opposed to multiple.
I see. I assume it's... Are you aware of the fact that it cuts extremely, extremely neatly? Or
yes,
is that
would be
that
the samurai's precision, particularly.
Okay. Okay, it's... That makes sense. Is there anything else you want from me before I end our conversation here? I would have loved to have a legendary blade in my possession, but to be honest, I'm smart enough to know that I really shouldn't mess with the final dragon.
A rather wise decision. I don't have anything particular myself. I am appreciative that you aren't stupid in the least, because generally, if things were to be in a more, shall we say, less clean position in this job, I would not have been the one that was sent here to get the blade back. No, that would have likely been either my partner or Spice, and if it was my partner, the moment that you entered your house would have been the moment that you lost. If it had been Spice, well, I don't know when he would have found you or how he would have found you, but it would have just been as simple as, well, you saw what he did to Tail.
Indeed, indeed. Well, I will... Well, he just kind of just plops the blade on the table. It did seem to be too much trouble for me to use anyways, even if it is a really good sword. However, I'm just going to leave all of you off with a warning. This isn't any threat from me, just a big concern for your general organization. You are aware of how the Panjaic War ended, right?
I out of character don't, so could you just tell me quick, Kakapo? Because I think Tact would know, probably.
Yeah, definitely. Basically, what happened is, essentially because, you know, it was the Panjaic Union versus the world.
Yeah.
Obviously, they would lose no matter their technological might. And also due to a couple key factors. Some intervention from outside sources, and B, a mutiny between the General Excelsior Graves and his most trusted men, the Disciples of Freedom. Essentially, they lost their best not lost, but basically Excelsior Graves ran away, and
Yeah.
the country couldn't do anything after that.
Yes, I know about it. Rather small fish attempting to take on all of the creatures in a large pond, amongst other things.
Yeah, indeed. And and despite me knowing the downfalls of my country, he kind of just again kings the symbol on his hat. I do have my sympathies for their overall cause of world peace and prosperity. But do mind you this, they never found Excelsior Graves after that. Some may argue he's dead, but some also probably don't. And I worked very closely with the man himself. So, I fear if you take out me, your boss will have a lot more on his hands than he'd want, even if he would win that match.
Tact slowly picks up the blade, just looking at it in disdain, as obviously you can assume, even because the thing is, you are not weak, to say the least, Graves, but you're not strong. This man, while he says he's not a fighter, he at least has the aura of someone who is a lot stronger than you. And as soon as he picks up the blade, you can assume that when he looks at it with disdain, that it's, even in its sheathed state, it's currently yelling at him to kill, kill, kill. He just looks at it before just holding it to his side. Do not worry for that, Mr. Graves, because my boss, as violent as he might appear, there's a reason that until that amnesis, as it was, most people had never heard of him in any of their entire lives, and that's because he does not like to make waves. He likes to keep the status quo as it currently is, unlike the Pangeic Union. So, as long as things stay the same, you won't have to worry about anything, Mr. Graves. And that's why I'm here to get this sword, just to ensure everything stays the same. Understand?
I do. Completely.
And with that, he just kind of points to your room. All of your weapons are in there. I didn't get rid of them. He just turns and starts to head away. If there's anything you want to do at this point in time, you may, but, you know.
Graves would just say at this point, I don't know how you feel about your boss's judgment, but I would at least like to, I'm at least just going to say, send Terval my regards, I suppose.
He was weak and a fool. He has no regards to be sent. And with that...
Fair enough.
He leaves. And unless there's any last thoughts Graves would have to go through, that's more or less the short story.
Yeah. Graves would kind of just at this point just take a look at his tea and just take a long, long sip. And then kind of just close his eyes at that point and twinge.
As you drink your tea, you remember you went through your cabinets, and I assume Graves has green teas. You know, it is what he drinks preferably. It doesn't seem.
Yes.
It doesn't seem like that tea was from yours. He brought that tea himself. He knew that that's what you would like, seemingly, and brought it himself.
Indeed. Yeah. But as I was saying, he would just kind of like twinge and just sort of think to himself, well, it would be helpful to, well, doesn't seem like, if I know DBA well enough, it doesn't seem like it's going to be the last time I'm going to meet these people. So he just pulls out a note card and begins writing down legendary blade, question mark, Eidolon class. And that's where we're going to end there.
All right. Well, that went short as one might be, considering it's a short story, but I think that went pretty well.
Yeah.
I don't have any particularly thoughts to be closing in on, but I don't know if anybody else here has any comments that they would like to say before we say goodbye to chat, everybody.
Well, there is one thing I need to do first.
It was really...
yeah, sorry.
Well, I was just going to say, it was really fun drawing Tack's icon when I didn't know who he was.
Oh, yeah, you know. I mean, you offered. I was like, yeah, sure, that sounds fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I have one thing I could say that is, you know, if you enjoyed yourself and you want to know when, where, how, why you can see more of the stuff we're doing here, you should join our funny Discord server. Fine dining. Ah, there it is. Go look. Ah. Cool. All right. Well, thank you all for watching as always. Thank you to the people that are participating in this downtime as always, and of course for facilitating it and everything. Say goodbye to chat, everybody.
Goodbye to chat, everybody.
Bye-bye.